welcome back to my YouTube channel. So, if you're new here, hello, welcome. My name is Aye. If you're returning to me, my lovely, welcome back. Thank you so much for coming here. Okay, so yeah, it's tricky. It's very tricky this video, but anyway, I really hope this is not going to get me any backlash. But if it does, it is what it is. We're doing the story time, guys. So today we're doing a story time on so you guys already saw the video, the title of this video. Yeah, my first experience with weed, right? So I'm gonna tell you guys a story. Like right now it's really funny when I tell it in hindsight. It's very funny, but definitely wasn't funny. And yeah, I'm just gonna keep it short and sweet. Yeah, and also just a disclaimer that this video by no means sits or seeks to inspire, motivate, encourage people to smoke weed. I don't do that. Personally, I do not smoke weed. Personally, I do not recommend people smoking weed. And I know you guys will say this is contradictory. You just said you smoke weed. Now you didn't say you smoked weed. But this is what we're doing the story time, so we get into the cracks of how I ended up smoking weed. And this is merely sharing my experience. It does not. My experience is basically my own personal experience with that I had smoking weed. It's not the same across the board, and yeah, but this will just be my own experience on how I ended up smoking weed and what my experience was. Right, so a couple of years ago, when I was still the life of the party and I used to go out almost every Friday, this happened. So yeah, so this one Friday, my cousin and I were like, let's go out, we're so bored. And then this group of guys that we had met the I think like 2 or 3 months earlier had invited us to go hang with them. They were having like a house chill situation. And because we were bored, we were like, why not? And by the time I was living alone, so y'all already know there's no curfew. Every weekend is to the streets. And also, guys, just disclaimer: I did start living alone at a very young age. I'm still young, but like younger age. So yeah, so my cousin and I were like, let's go, let's bounce, girl. So we went. And I remember like we went to the flat. I know it was nice, it was vibes. There was a lot, like there were other ladies and there were guys, but I think there were more guys than ladies. But it was vibes. We were all gelling. It was good. So we found the guys smoking happily and they were drinking Jameson, and we joined them. Right? They were like, "Oh, you guys don't smoke," and yeah, we started smoking and drinking. So we're at the flat for a while, and then the neighbors started complaining about the noise. That the noise pollution was a lot, and so the guys decided that okay, let's move from the complex and let's go drink somewhere in town at those other hangout spot, right? So so what happened was like I for like I did not understand it, but I remember, guys, I was happy. I say my happy moon trap, guys. I was so happy that night. Like I was so happy and carefree and like I don't even know how to explain it, but like I was so carefree. So if you know me, like anybody that has gone out with me, typically when we go out, I am a very vigilant person. Like I make sure the girls are safe. I make sure everybody has their phones. I make sure no drink is being spiked. I am just that girl that checks, that keeps everybody in check. So I don't really like get to let loose because I'm always like my guard is always up. Like trying to make sure that everybody else is fine, and also just making sure like if I'm with the boys, they're not trying to fight or like do anything weird or like, you know, like do sketchy things. But that night, guys, now usually when I'm with that cousin of mine, I was always like the parent, because yeah, my cousin she knows how to have fun, guys. Bona, that girl knows how to party. So like I would always be like the one holding the phones and the bags, and yeah, but that night, we were both here. Bona, eh? We were cruising like this. Chipara na chipara. Man, I was so happy, guys. Like I was just like carefree. I was dancing, and I remember when we were going to town. I remember when we were driving to town, the car had a sun roof thingy. I was standing out of the sunroof thing, and like the guys were driving so fast. Oh my god, like the guys were driving so fast, and I was standing there and screaming and feeling the rush of air hitting my face, and I was just feeling the adrenaline. Like I was just like, whew, it was so exhilarating, that feeling. I cannot put it in words, right? But I just know like I was so carefree, I was so happy, like nothing mattered. And the danger in that, though, was I didn't take any safety precautions. Usually when I get into the car, I'm the first to buckle up. I'm the first to make sure even the people in the back are buckled up. If you've been in the car with me, you know it. It goes without saying. You will buckle up. So for that night, guys, I was just like, anyway. So yeah, and then we got to town, and when we got to town, it was a party, guys. We partied, we danced, man. And you know that I even lost my jacket. I've never lost anything in Grove, not even a $10. And one thing about me, I used to party. I never lost, like, not even a $10. So I've never lost, like, born. I'm always here. You know, I'm always the one making sure everything is in check. That day I lost my jacket. I cool. So I remember that day, I was like, ooh, and then we continued smoking happily outside. And I was asking those guys, like later, like I started feeling a bit drowsy while we were in town. And I asked these guys, are we smoking happily? And then one guy laughs and he's like, yeah, what do you mean? I'm like, are you sure it's just happily? Because it's making me feel like, you know, and I'm a bit too happy than I normally am when I'm smoking happily. Because normally when I smoke like normal plain happily, I get lightheaded but not like happy. I get lightheaded but not like happy. I'm like, So the one guy laughs and he's like, you're smoking weed, and I laugh about it because I thought it was a joke. It's so funny. I'm like, he's like, we've been smoking weed the whole night. I just like, you're so funny. Because I thought he was being sarcastic in a sense that obviously you can see we're smoking happily. Why would you ask? So I thought like, that's being sarcastic, and also because I didn't have exposure to people doing recreational drugs or those type of drugs. I did not have any exposure. I did not know that you can actually put habli in the flavor, and then you can put weed in the flavor, and then you put it in the coal or in the on the habli. I did not know that. So when he said that, I just laughed. I'm like, oh, you're so crazy. I just laughed about it. So yeah, the night continued. Munati, it's fun, it's fun. And I realized like I left now the inside. I went outside to the guys so that I smoking the hub, because the guys were sitting outside, and as the girls went inside to dance. So when I went back to the guys, they're making a head, and I'm like, they're putting things in. I'm like, what are you guys putting in the habli? They're like, weed. I told you we've been smoking weed the whole night. I'm like, what do you mean? He's like, yeah. I'm like, oh shucks, now it makes sense. Now it makes sense. And the moment I realized that I've been smoking weed the whole night, and I've never had like weed experience, and the only time I've actually had an experience with somebody who smoked weed, they were so paranoid, like super paranoid. I was just like, oh my god. I went to look for my cousin and I was just like, let's go home. We are going home. And she was still having fun. She didn't want to go home. So I remember I dialed a cab and then they took me home because I was so paranoid. I was just like, oh my god, oh my god, oh my god. And that's how I lost my jacket because like when I left in a hurry. I didn't even bother to see where it was, who was having it. I was just like, I left. I remember when and I was so happy even when I was in the dialect cab. I'm sure like that driver was just like, child, shut up. I was so happy, like guys. I was so happy, guys. I remember like I went in the house and I was just waking up my sister. I'm like, I learned new dance move. Hey, wake up, look at my legs. And then she was like, what is going on with you, my sister? Are you okay? And I'm like, my sister, I don't know. I smoked weed. And I didn't know how to react. I didn't know if I should cry, if I should be happy, but I was really just careless, to be honest. And normally I wouldn't dance if there's no music. Yo, that night I was just there. I woke up Emma and I was dancing in the room. But yeah, basically that is how I had my first weed experience. It was not consensual in a sense that I did not know that I was smoking weed. And the effects of it was like I was really, really carefree for that night. That's what I can say. And I was really, really happy. But like when I look back in hindsight now, so many things could have gone wrong. Like a million things could have gone wrong because I really, really neglected my safety, and that's something I really do not do. So yeah, this is basically just I'm sharing this video because I know a lot of us go out to chill spots and then we just smoke on people's hubblies, but people like put things in their hubbly and you never know what you're going to smoke. It might not be hubbly, or you might not react the same to hubbly. You might react violently. I reacted like very happy, very carefree, and but even that carefreeness could have like led to safety issues for me. You understand? So I am really sharing my experience because of that. Because now in hindsight, I look back and I'm like, so many things could have gone wrong. Honestly, the way I was not buckled up, we could have had an accident. I could have died. I could have been like permanently disabled. Not that the seatbelt would have helped, but it does help. But also just the position that I was in, like it's if I don't think you guys understand it the way I was, and also because that's not me. I'm a very responsible person. I know so many things could have gone wrong that night, and honestly, I can't say I regret I regret smoking weed because it wasn't really like I knew what I was smoking, but I also like really regret smoking from somebody's hubbly. And since then I've gotten my own tiny small hubbly that I do use when I want to smoke. And unfortunately now I don't really go out that much, or fortunately I don't know, but I don't really go out that much anymore. And even when I do, it's not like crazy like that. It's like go out and have wine and like, you know, smaller nyana vibes. It's not go crazy vibes. And yeah, now I've learned a lesson, so I'm always like really vigilant with my glass and with my glass, with hubbly. I hardly go around smoking people's hubbly. I rather not smoke hubbly than smoke people's hubbly. So yeah, that's I really hope like you learned something from this video. And yeah, and then I was laughing, but just because I'm like, when I think of the things I did that night, nothing bad, but it was just very embarrassing. That yeah, I wasn't very responsible that night. I did not do anything crazy, but I was I neglected my safety, and that for me is something really, really crazy. And not just my safety, but also the safety of my cousin. And yeah, the reason I left my cousin in town is because she lived in town, and I knew, or like, she was with one of our other friends that we found, and they agreed to take her home. That's why I was okay with her, with me leaving her there. I didn't leave her unattended to. And yeah, like I said, the paranoia kicked in, but I was also paranoid for her because she also smoked the hubbly, and we were all smoking the whole night. It's just I smoked more because I'm a bit claustrophobic, and the place was small, so it was also full. So I'd go out often, and when I'm outside with the guys, I would smoke. So yeah, but yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed the story time. I hope you guys enjoyed the story time, and I am not, and I repeat, I am not in any way, in any form, encouraging people to smoke weed, because people react differently to different drugs. And also, even as much as I was so carefree and happy, I still live with that what if. I know so much could have gone wrong, and I know it's strictly by God's grace that nothing did. So yeah, I hope you guys learned something from the story time. And yeah, I know it's not as dramatic as the cause of them story times, but yeah, I really hope you guys learned something. And ladies, when you're out, be safe, keep responsible, look after your drink, look after each other. You know, do not smoke people's weed, especially if you haven't seen the head being made like fresh, like, or it didn't come from the people that sell it. Just refrain from it, because it's so dangerous. Like, people do crazy things. But anyway, from me, you love it. You guys might love it. I love you guys so much. Okay, I love you guys. Okay, love you guys. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you subscribed if you haven't subscribed. But yeah, yeah, I guys, please do not smoke, do not use drugs, please stay away from drugs. Stop drinking, also stop drinking. Okay, yeah, that part, the last part, wishy, but we'll get there. But anyway, guys, I hope you enjoyed this video. Until next time, cheers.